All right, welcome everybody to the EE111 Introduction and Orientation. So to get started really quickly, who should be watching this video? Who is this video for? You may have wandered onto this video through YouTube or through the channel for the class. This video is intended for EE111 students that are in the spring 2020 quarter only. So this video will have really no meaning to you if you're not in the spring 2020 section of EE111 at Western Washington University. It's not going to really help you unless you just want to watch a video of me, which, but if you're not in that group, you might want to just, skip next or watch something else. So to get started, first of all, I want to do some introductions for everybody. We know this quarter is a little bit weird, so we're going to try to keep it kind of as normal as possible. We had planned to have 2 faculty teach EE111 this year because of size, but that now we're kind of gone to this online structure, and so it doesn't quite have as much meaning having 2 faculty. But there is still a benefit, and that benefit is you'll have more access to more people who can answer your questions and give you feedback. So this quarter we have myself, John Lund, and I will be doing the pre-recorded videos of lectures, and I will also have my office hours, which are kind of the same time that the class is scheduled, on Monday and Wednesday from 3 to 4. I'll also be available during the Thursday labs. And I believe those are sort of 2 labs overlapping 1 to 4 to allow students who had a conflict with another class to participate. The other faculty member is Shichen Zhang, who you can see here. He will be doing office hours during his scheduled class time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11. He's also going to be available during the Friday section of my class time, which is Friday 3 to 4. So at any of those times, you should be able to access either of us through Zoom. You can ask us questions, you can look for feedback, anything you normally ask during an office hour session or that you'd ask during a class session, you can feel free to ask in those time windows. The TA is going to be Celine Collins. So for those of you who are in the previous class of this at Western, you might know her. She was one of the TAs previously for you. So we wanted to pick a TA who was somebody who was also in the previous class to have a little continuity, because we know for a lot of you, seeing people for the first time online is a little bit different than knowing them in person. So hopefully we get to know each other throughout the course of this quarter, but it might be a little strange for some people doing it all electronically. So Celine is the TA for this class. She will be mostly grading your labs, but one of the things students seem to have the biggest concerns about when we've done this class in the past is lab grading consistency, lab grading requirements, and things like that. So Celine will be a good resource to talk to for that. She's also passed this class. She did very well in this class when she took it last year. So you can feel free to ask her questions about this class as well, but most of her time will be spent, as I said, grading your labs and giving feedback on your labs. So how is this quarter going to be structured? Lectures are going to be structured similar to the way they're done normally, except it'll be a recorded lecture. It'll be a pre-recorded lecture. The lectures will be available each week at the beginning of the week. We don't want people to be able to get too far ahead because there's a lot of value in keeping everybody kind of on the same page in terms of everybody following the material at the same pace, doing the labs that are related to that material at the same pace, and doing quizzes and tests at the same pace. When people get too far ahead, sometimes what happens is as we progress through the class, you'll learn different techniques of solving things. Some of those you might prefer, some of them you might not. We want to make sure everybody though gets all the techniques. And when people move ahead too quickly, sometimes they start using different techniques to solve a problem, which will not be what we're looking for, and you'll get points taken off. So it seems to work better if everybody kind of stays on the same pace and stays together. It also makes it easier for us to interact with each other if we're kind of all going through the same things at the same time. So the videos, just like this one, will be posted to YouTube, but the link will be available through the Canvas page. So each week there will be a homework assignment for that week. Embedded within that homework assignment will be links to the YouTube videos where we go over the material for that quarter. The lectures also follow the book very closely. The book is the Nilsson Rydell book. We say you can do anything from the 8th to the current edition. One thing to note is the homework problems are out of, I believe, the 10th edition of the book. So the homework problems that are posted, they change the book, it seems like every couple of years they change the book and want another $250 from you. You're free though to pick anything from the 8th edition to the current edition will work just fine as a resource for this class. The homework problems will all be posted as a PDF on Canvas. So you don't have to have the version of the book with the exact problems. And in fact, if you have the latest version of the book, those problems might not map to the problems that we have posted. So be sure to check the PDFs that are of the problem sets that are posted with each homework assignment for the actual assigned problem. And also, in addition to these videos and the materials in the books, all the notes for these lectures are available online as notes as well. So I have handwritten notes for this material, these videos, and the book, and they all follow very closely to each other. And so you should be able to, whichever one you prefer, or any combination of all of those that you prefer, you should be able to get the material you need to do the assignments and to do well on the quizzes and tests. So how are we going to do labs? This is the biggest question for this quarter, being all online. So we didn't have a lot of time to prepare this, but what we did is we developed an electronics board, which you should all be getting in the mail. One thing about getting things in the mail is I will post on Canvas, you will find a quiz, which requires you to type in your current address where you want something mailed. So it's an address where you will be able to receive a mailed package within the next month. So please be sure to do that quiz to enter your mailing address, and then we will mail these boards out to you. There will not be an option to pick these boards up in labs. We're trying to kind of make sure the lab tech resa doesn't have to have too much contact with people either. So everybody will be getting a mailed board. These boards will allow you to perform all of the labs that we've done historically in this class. One of the weird things about these labs is they need strange power supplies that are able to do things like absorb power, which usually power supplies only are able to supply power. So to make this board, it has to be a little bit strange in terms of the power supplies that's on these boards. But the board we'll be sending you has 4 separate power supplies, and it also has the ability to measure current and voltage. So you'll be able to conduct all of your labs from home. The lab should start around week 3. We need a little bit of lead time because we actually have to build these boards and get them all tested and make sure they're working. And again, we didn't have much time to prepare this, but they should be ready and it should be out to you by week 3. That's normally when we start doing the meaningful labs in this class anyway, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Around week 2, we'll do a lab orientation that goes over safety precautions. So especially when you're working from home, normally one of the things we say is if you're working with voltages over 15 volts, make sure you're working with a buddy, make sure you have somebody nearby just in case you tend to, do something that hurts you. It's good to have somebody around who can, call 911. So this is, if you're doing these from home, who knows? You could be out in the middle of nowhere. There could be nobody within 10 miles. We don't know. So we're going to have a separate sort of safety video that goes over tips and techniques for being safe while doing these labs at home. And most of the labs are structured in a way to be as safe as possible. But anytime you're working with electronics, there's a potential risk, and there's several potential risks. So we'll go over those in the lab orientation, which you can expect again around week 2. And we also have a survey of lab structure. So it's hard for us to tell how comfortable people are with different types of technology, but there's many ways we can do these labs. And one of the ways we can do these labs is by just having everybody do the labs on their own. So you sit down, you go through the lab material, you do the lab on your board, you record all your data, you write up your lab report, you submit it. You're just an island unto yourself. The other option we can do is we can have people broken up into teams. So people can be broken up into small lab groups that can do their labs together using whatever sort of video or audio sharing, or even just, even just a chat type thing. You can work on the lab together as a group, as a group. The other option is, and so if you do a group like that, the options are you can choose the groups yourself, or you can have faculty choose the groups automatically. Faculty can choose a set of groups for the class. Some people are comfortable with those different types of things. There's a quiz right now that's posted on Canvas. You can take that quiz and give us feedback as to which of those 3 options you'd prefer. Now, it's not intended to be a vote where whichever one is the most popular wins. It's just a way for us to get feedback as to what your preference would be and what you think you'd be able to do given the technology or the setup you're in right now at home or wherever you are while doing this class. So that feedback would be really beneficial if you could take that quiz. That quiz closes on the Friday of the first week of class, which I think is 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, the 10th. So it closes Friday the 10th at midnight. So before Friday, please be sure to take that quiz so that we know what your preferred option would be. So how are you going to submit your material? All submissions will be online, so you're not going to be mailing things to us. You can submit. So For homeworks, you can feel free to do those with pencil and then just scan or take photos and submit those through Canvas. For labs, though, all of your labs should be typed and printed, so there should be no handwritten labs. So those should all be submitted as a PDF on Canvas. The labs, again, will be graded by Celine. They'll all be graded by the TA. So it'll be one TA grading the labs, so there should be a fair amount of consistency. And again, we've told her, or I shouldn't say again because I'm not sure I mentioned it yet. We've told her basically to give feedback on the labs and grade the labs based on what you should expect in the future in our program. So the TAs have taken multiple classes with multiple faculty. They know what other faculty expect. They know what's going to be expected of you moving forward. They know better actually than I know how all these different classes have expectations for lab. And so really they're there to help make sure that you're leaving this class able to do a lab report that's going to serve you well in the program moving forward. And that's really what we want you to get out of this, is to sort of figure out how to do a proper lab report in a way that will meet the expectations of the other faculty in this program. And the homeworks are graded not based on getting the right answer. Sometimes the answers will be provided for you. They're based on making an honest attempt to complete each problem. And this is a big, a lot of people, we know it's easy to cheat on homeworks. If you want to, all of you have Chegg, or somebody's passed to Chegg. All of you have the ability to take an assignment and write out the problem and write the correct answer. So we don't grade based on that. We grade based on, did you make an honest attempt to do the problem? Was it clear you were doing the work yourself? Was it clear you were attempting to go through the problem and do the work required to find the answer? And then the solutions will be provided for you anyway. We really just want to make sure you're making an honest attempt. And it's usually very easy to tell who is making an honest attempt and who wasn't. And really the best way to do well in this class is to make sure that each week you do that homework assignment and you make sure that each problem that you do, by the end of it, even if you do it once and you get the wrong answer, to do it again and make sure you understand the problem before moving on to the next week. So really being able to master those homework assignments, to know, even if you didn't get it the first time, to know what it takes to get the right answer, to be able to eventually get through each problem, understand it, get the answer correct. That's really important for success in this class. And so we can't force you to not cheat on the homeworks, but people who do kind of, quickly at the last minute, copy a friend's homework or find the answers on Chegg and just sort of transcribe them, they tend to be the ones who not only struggle in this class, but struggle in the program moving forward. So this class, having a good foundation in this class, have a good understanding of the material in this class is really critical to success in the program. Along those lines, we require that people submit 70% of the materials in this class to pass. So we've had students in the past who they've taken a class similar to this. They know they can get B's or A's on the exams, and so they also notice that the homeworks are only 15% of their grade. So what they do is they just do the exams and they just eat the minus 15% on all the homeworks, and they eat the quizzes, and they get a C- or whatever in the class, and they say that's good enough for me. And then the class really doesn't serve them very well. So one of the requirements we have is that you must submit 70% of the materials in order to pass. So you have to actually turn those homeworks in. So there will be quizzes and exams in this class as well. The quizzes and exams will really be done like any other, except you'll be doing them from your house or from wherever. You won't be doing them in person. There will be strict time limits for quizzes and exams. We'll talk more about the structure for these when we get time to do the first quiz and time to do the first exam. But one thing to note is the time limit is a really critical part of this class. So understanding the material in this class means you have the ability to understand it and to be able to do problems using the tools we teach in this class without having to go back and reteach yourself those tools from the book. We understand most people could sit down for an exam, and given unlimited time, they could teach themselves the material and they could do pretty well on it. We really want you to have mastery in the material to the point where when you look at a problem, you say, I know based on doing homework assignments related to this, how to find the answer. I know what process I have to go through, and now I'm going to get started and I'm going to do it. The students who, when they first get a problem, they start flipping through the book and they look for something that looks similar, they tend not to do very well moving forward. And so we really want to make sure that you have mastery that lets you solve these problems efficiently, meaning you know what tool you need to use, what technique you need to use to get to the answer right when you first see a problem. And so we do have a time limit, and one of the biggest issues people have doing quizzes and tests is that time limit. Not so much on the quiz, but on the test. Usually when people get bitten by a test, it's because they didn't have time to get everything, because for each problem, they sort of had to teach themselves how to find the answer when they got to the problem, flipping through the book or something like that. So we really try to avoid that, but just note there will be a strict time limit on exams and quizzes. Now I want to go through the syllabus for this class. The syllabus is posted on Canvas. I'm actually re-recording this video because the syllabus was just updated today. The syllabus, you'll notice it has information for both faculty, for myself and Shichen. It has, you can see it's got the Zoom links it's got my Zoom link and Shichen's Zoom link. These are links you will be able to follow to attend meetings with us at our office hour times and, at the class times and the lab times. So for both of those, you'll be able to use the same link to meet with us, to be on a live chat with us, to answer your questions during those lab and lecture times. Nope. I said 70% in the previous slide. It's 60%. So I think what it means is 60% of homeworks. Typically, we have at least 8 or 9 homework. So at least, so typically it's seven of those 9, I should say. But I guess we say 60%. If it's in the syllabus, that's the rule. So turn in 60% of homeworks and 60% of labs. I'm not going to go back and re-record this video because, yeah, twice is enough. Okay, so again, the book, the Nielsen book, Electric Circuits, it's kind of the standard. This is the standard textbook for teaching this material. But one thing for us is we're not strict about saying you have to have the latest edition. Anything from the 8th to the 12th will work just fine for this class. The prereqs, we do assume you have Math 125 and Physics 162 as we go through these course lectures. So we have standard letter gradations here. So just note, a 90 to 100 is an A- to an A, 80 to 89 is B-, B+. So one thing is this quarter is a little bit, the university sort of instituted a policy that said D- are a pass. So D- are a pass, right? The university policy is university policy, or sorry, D+ is a pass. So that's, I kind of interpreted that more as the university top down is trying to say, be a little bit lenient on people. And that's fine. And ultimately, the grade you get is the grade you get. But just note that generally people who are successful in the program do pretty well in this class. So it's really important to succeed in this class. It's a really good indicator you succeed in this class. And I really strongly encourage people to make this class a priority and to focus on mastering the material. We have a list of topics here. So the topics roughly scheduled by week. The first week is kind of a refresh of some things you might have seen in physics. And also we go over some little odds and ends that are things that people might not have learned yet. And also things that we don't really cover formally anywhere else in the curriculum. So we'll, things like fuses, which we don't really talk about elsewhere in the curriculum, but it's not really part of the book's topic either. We'll toss some of those things into the lectures in the first couple weeks. So the outcomes. So one thing to note, if you're a student in the state of Washington, Washington state law requires all syllabi for classes to list the outcomes for a class. These are very important. These are the things where contractually the class says, upon leaving this class, you will be able to do X, Y, and Z. If you're successfully complete this class, you can do these things. So I encourage you not only for this class to read these through, but also in general, look at the syllabus for your classes, all of your classes, and see what they say the outcomes are. See what they say you should get out of the class. And if they're not there, maybe gently remind the teacher that they should tell you what the outcomes are, and it's technically Washington state law. So, and then we have the inclusivity statement, which I'm not going to read on the video. You can read yourselves, but just note that if any, this quarter is going to be a different format. You might have a different experience. If you have any issue with the way the class is structured or with your experience in the class, you can feel free to contact myself or Shichen anonymously using your name any way you want. Please let us know if it's anything about the sort of your overall contentment with the way the class is structured or the way it's sort of worked out or the way it's, especially if you have groups in a lab or something like that, or you're working with somebody else or anything, any issue you have, anything that's not working out well for you, please communicate it with us. And we take that very seriously. Okay, that does it for the orientation. So I look forward to meeting all of you in Zoom if you use video or audio. I won't meet you face to face. I saw a few of you last quarter, but I will be looking forward to the meetings we have in the future. And you can expect to see a lot more from me in the lectures that I have posted. So that's all for now.